All right, guys, welcome back to another episode here on the abundance.io podcast. We are here at the Door to Door Con live. What's up, Dylan? Good to see you, my man.
What's up, dude? It's cool to do a podcast in a room like this. I'm normally trapped in my studio at my office.
I like the energy. People are passing by, they're checking in. You know, David Meltzer just ran by earlier and like waved at us. And it's like, there's just like good energy. People are tuning
Definitely not for
in.
someone who's shy, though.
No. That's why I don't like shy people. They're not welcome here.
All right, I better leave.
Just kidding. Well, you just are launching, well, not launch, but kind of relaunching your new agency, Mindful Agency. And who's your new business partner?
Michael Graziano. So, dude, craziest thing is like we met on this app called
Grinder.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't.
I got you. Did.
Yeah. I was gonna do like a little comedic timing on it, but you just had to come for the punch.
Well, me and Abdul met on Craigslist, so.
Oh, men seeking men.
Yeah.
Missed connections.
Yeah.
Don't ask how I know those. Actually, quick tangent, horrible story.
Yeah.
Is actually like in high school, took one of my friends and put his number with like a male model's photo and said, look,
Amazing.
I'm like, send me a text. And
Amazing.
not just a text, send me a photo. And he's like, and he's Brazilian.
He's like, well, I'm really popular.
He's like, Dylan, was this? He's like, so. So, anyways, yeah, dude. So Michael Graziano, a crazy thing, dude. Yeah, we met on what was the app? You talked to each other on the
Clubhouse?
Yeah, Clubhouse. Yeah, and
I'm hearing a lot of things. I'm not on it. I don't know what people are getting at. I'm on so many different platforms.
No, dude, it's dead.
It's dead?
Yeah, we used it when it was live a year and a half ago. It just launched.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's cool, but
Well, they got married on Clubhouse, right?
yeah. Him and his wife got married in Clubhouse.
Wild. I was reading that on the bio. I was like, what? You can do that?
But dude, here's the thing: is like we're doing this thing called it's called Baby Shark Tank. It's where like people come up, pitch their idea, and then people invest. And I didn't really realize like the sharks were only investing like $25, $50. I was putting up like $500 every week.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, who's this like guy coming in throwing down this money? I guess I was like the biggest investor every week for like 2 months. And I didn't know because they just pool into like a pool and then they give it to the winner. So he's like, dude, let's talk. So we get on a Zoom call and I'm like, where are you from? He's like, Vancouver. I'm like, oh, dude, I grew up in Vancouver. I spent 24 years there. He's like, no shit. Where do you go to high school? Like, we went to the same high school, had the same teachers, but the year he graduated was the year I started. So we're 4 or 5 years apart. And it's just crazy how like the world comes full circle.
Big time.
And then things come and it happen. And so, yeah, now we're business partners. We run Mindful Agency. It's PR, social media. It's kind of like building people's personal brands. That's what we do.
Amazing.
So the 5-minute tangent to get to that one point.
No, it's great, man. And I'm starting to know more and more about PR. I never really paid a whole lot of attention to it. And now I just see like the value in it, right? Like you guys do the magic that I didn't know about, and just like helping people get their story out into the world is super powerful, man. I love what you guys are doing. Talk to the audience a bit more about like, if you're starting out your brand, you're starting out as a business owner, maybe you don't have money to invest in PR. Like what are some smart things you can start doing when you're starting your company to really kind of get like the good word about yourself and your brand out there and kind of start doing like those baby steps of PR?
Yeah. So the way we look at it, you got to kind of climb up the ladder of authority. And so you do need like a baseline level of social proof where it's like, hey, like there's a certain number of followers. Unfortunately, it's like a world of social proof, and then some articles and PR and stuff like that. And so what you want to be able to do is you want to own like the first 1 or 2 pages of search engines. Because if you don't tell a search engine what to say, they're going to create their own message and say it themselves. So I'd rather go in and create, an article, put the headline there, Abundance.io, #1 rated podcast. And even if it's not yet the #1 rated podcast, like state that and make it, and it'll become that. Right? And so then, the first 1 or 2 pages of Google says that. So what you can actually do is this is just what we do. We go out and I message people on these publications and say, hey, I have a client that's got this topic about XYZ. Like, can you do a feature on them? And they'll say yes or no. If I do it, send it out to like 10 or 20 people that work at these companies, eventually one person will say yeah. So people pay us to do that. That's what we do. We go handle that side of the business. But if you have no money, just go do that yourself. Go into these publications, go into like Forbes. If you got a cool story, look at the contributors, and then go find them on Instagram and send them a message. And it's literally as simple as that. You just got to do it enough times where someone who cares enough about your story is willing to write something about you.
For sure. Because I don't, all of these publications are always looking for content.
Yeah.
Like they're just like literally digging through the internet, trying to find stories that'll get eyeballs on their site. That's it. So many people think, oh, I got to have this and that, and I got to be wealthy, and I got to have this big business, and I got to have all these things going for me for somebody to listen to my story. But what I've learned so much about listening to some of the top speakers in the world is they started going there and getting to those levels because they really got clear on their story and they really got clear on their mission. And when those things aligned, people were able to understand them and understand like what they were trying to do. So then naturally people want to come through, promote you, get you on their site, get you on their stage because it's clear. So a lot of people that are going through pain or going through depression or going through whatever, it's like when you come out of that and you start sharing your story to help other people through your story. Like I just had Michael on a little bit ago with Unbroken, and like his story is so wild. And the fact that he got out and started sharing about like the bad, the ugly, the crazy stuff he went through, it created an entire platform for him where everybody wanted him on their stages, wanted to do business with him. It was like this whole thing. So when it comes to sharing your story, once you find what that is, you find your voice, getting on those platforms is not as hard as you think.
Yeah. And there's like, if you go, there's a site called National Day Calendar where there's these basically like there's over 300 days of the year. There's National Women's Day. There's National Hijab Day, right? There's like literally over 300 of these. And so you go to National Day Calendar, nationaldaycalendar.com, and you can see a list of all of them. And as one's approaching about a month out, you can go to the media and say, hey, National Hijab Day is coming up. As a Muslim American, I'd love to talk about my topic. It's like, you could find probably one a month that resonates with you and your story.
Wow.
And just use that as a way to like hack your way into the news and the media. And that's effectively just what we do for our clients. It's like we find like what's a trending topic, right? Like let's say Elon Musk is like in the news and about Twitter. Like we'll find a former Tesla employee who's like it's like disgruntled and have them come and like take them to CNN and say, CNN wants a hit piece on Elon Musk. So we find the person and, so that's just basically what it is. So the easiest way to do it is just what is your mission? What is your story? And how can you communicate that to people who have platforms that can share it and talk about it?
Yeah, I love that. And, as you start to grow your business, that's where like, we've done work together. We're talking about doing more work together with PR because it's a lot of work to get to those right publications with the right story and the right thing. Like the work that you guys put in, I'm just like, I'll just pay you. Like I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And when, you see these bigger brands growing, you're like, wow, how is this person everywhere and doing everything? It's like really building the right teams around them in those right, sectors. Like we have our, social team, we have our media team, we have our copy team, we have our PR team. It's like starting to build like getting the right people and the right teams around you allow you to, like you said, build authority in the right way and in the right time frame that you're really trying to, accomplish. At some point, it can't be a one-man game anymore. But in the beginning, do what you can. And that's really the whole thing with abundance is really teaching people how to get started, how to start building the brand, and how to just like start doing it with like whatever they got. Like get resourceful. And that's what we try to teach people is like when you start a business, you either have more time or you have more money. Which one are you going to use to get you to that next level to where you can start having more time or more money? It's going to take sacrifice on either end. It doesn't just happen. And, you talk to people like, well, why am I not on that stage? And why am I not on TV? And why is my business not growing? It's like, well, you haven't done the work. You haven't sacrificed one of those to get to that next level where those other doors open up to where, oh, it does make sense to go work with you on PR and get these big TV spots and get these big things. It's like, if you're just starting out, might not make that sense.
But no, dude, like the thing is when people are just getting started, the key is like, if there's someone who has money because maybe they're working like a corporate job somewhere else and they're making money, they can invest in like a system where it's like done for you, that's perfect. But if you're someone who doesn't have access to capital, well, this isn't a, hey, pay nothing and get rich quick. Like you're going to have to learn the process, do the work yourself. Eventually you make a little bit of money, then replace that with, an agency or a person, hire someone. And that's how companies are born. Like I've got over 75 employees now. it wasn't because I just, one day I paid 75 people a paycheck. It's because I did the process, and then I hired someone to do that process, and then I hired someone else to do this process. And eventually there's this pyramid, this whole pyramid, and,
Oh, pyramid
yeah,
scheme.
pyramid scheme. Exactly. Dude, you get into my jokes before me, dude. So dude, that's the process of building wealth. And
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
it's just like the.
Well, and the thing is now too is, in old corporate America, it definitely is a pyramid scheme. Now you want to talk about it, where like everyone at the bottom is serving the people at the top, right? That's a true pyramid scheme, getting paid, minimum wage to run these massive corporations. What we've done in our business, and I know you have as well, is like we've actually flipped it upside down to where us as the owners, the board of advisors, like the corporate level people, we serve our people. Like we've turned that upside down, because when we serve them and we solve problems, it's like that open line of communication where you guys tell me something's going wrong. Tell me something's broken. I want to hear the bad stuff so we can fix it and make your life better so that we can all work better. I don't want you guys being burnt out. I don't want you guys working longer hours than you should be. Let's build the systems. Let's invest in the right way so we can take this thing really to the next level. And when we really shifted that communication about 2 years ago, the business really started to take off, and people felt safe in the work environment, and people felt like, oh, I'm a part of something bigger, right? It really changed it. And I see there's a friend of mine actually that will go into corporate businesses and will help them restructure in that format where it's like an open floor communication. It's not like, oh, you're answering to your superiors, and if you step out of line, you're getting fired. Like that, like old way of thinking, I think is really outdated now. So we're always hiring at abundance.io.
Dude, it is it's interesting because I have the same philosophy, but instead of just with my team, it's also with my customers. And so, dude, I had 10 people sign up for my company, and one person complained, and then I fixed it. And then I had 100 people sign up, and then 10 people complained, and I listened to them and I fixed it. And that's why, like, 4 years later, my companies are thriving and growing, and we have happy customers, because not only am I listening to my employees, but also listening to my customers. And I think like there's this, sometimes people get removed from the business, but if you can have that like open communication with your people and your team and your customers, and then I think that's where things get better. Because dude, I don't really talk to customers anymore. So it's like, in order for me to hear that, I have to somehow get their feedback back to me. And I don't know about you, dude, but like I'll once in a while get like a spontaneous email from a customer that somehow dug my email up somewhere saying like, hey, like, just want to give you some feedback. It's like, and of course I get feedback from my employees, but if I didn't have that, the only communication I get is like the, once a quarter email from a customer that was like, really unhappy. So I love that you're doing that and really encouraging that, that process where everything can improve and get better.
For sure. It's that feedback loop. Cause I remember when I first started my agency, like back in 2015, 2016, I was terrified to speak with my clients. I was terrified. It's like, yeah, business was growing. I knew it was good. I was tracking things, but I was also working with a lot of attorneys, and they just like had their way about just like being crazy. I don't know if you ever marketed for attorneys. Like,
yeah.
like it's a wild world to be in. They make you think you messed up when you didn't. But I didn't do like the feedback loop with my clients. And then, eventually those clients would eventually just kind of go away, whether I would just kind of let them go or they would just kind of leave and the contract would end. And then when I started doing it and started having somebody like check up, it was like, we're checking up, we were finding things that were broken before it became a problem. And then we were also getting the purest feedback. Cause like the best thing for you to create another product, to create another service, to add more value, your clients will tell you exactly how to do that. Like you go to these growing companies and they're like, we don't know our next product. Survey your list. How else can we better serve you? How much more value can we add you? How can we do that? What would that look like? And literally we started a online fitness company. This was 4 or 5 years ago. And it was an influencer, had a bunch of followers on YouTube. And we're like, you need to build some products.
Kylie Jenner?
Yeah. Kylie Jenner. We run all of our products now. Survey the list. What do you guys need?
Small up and coming influencer.
Yeah. Very, very niche market. Not a large TAM, very small TAM. And
she's the one from North Dakota, right?
South Dakota. She's from the Dakotas. I didn't even know that there was a North, but I'm from the West Coast. Where's North Dakota? I don't.
I think she knows West. She knows Kanye West, and anyways.
They all hang out over there next to the big lakes, right? On that side of the country. Right. So he was like, I don't know what products to create. I'm like, email your list and say, how can I add more value to you? And it was like 30% of them were like, I need a protein supplement. The other 15% were like, oh, how do I gain more muscle in a short amount of time? Like we got maybe 10 of them back. And then we took that and then put that into where these are the only 10 you could choose from, and then sent it out to the list again and then narrowed it down to like 2. And then that product freaking crushed.
Dude, I have a way for beginners to do something just like that. It'll take them 30 seconds and they'll be able to get over 10,000 data points of feedback in 30 seconds.
Let's hear it.
Dude, ChatGPT, you can literally go in and prompt it and say, act as an Amazon reviewer or as an Amazon review analyzer and review the last 10,000 reviews for a blank product. So you could say like baby diapers or whatever.
Yeah.
And give me a list of the 10 negative points and the 10 positive points. And it will literally go through. The data is only up to 2019, so it couldn't be something super recent yet. But it'll literally go through data from up to 2019 and analyze it and be able and give you the feedback.
What are your thoughts on that? So I see a lot of people.
Mind-blowing, isn't it?
It's super mind-blowing. And I'm now seeing so many people. I just saw Pace Morby at his event literally talk about it's going to start replacing this industry and this industry and this industry and this industry. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what does that look like for people that are in like a sales job or a setter's job or a support job?
Dude, I just did a keynote on it on Wednesday, 3 days ago. And dude, it was like, I made a list of 43 industries it's going to replace.
Can I borrow that for my keynote tomorrow?
The World Economic Forum said it's going to replace, by 2025, 85 million jobs. Now,
globally or in the U.S.?
Globally, yeah.
Globally,
yeah. If that was the U.S., that's like half the U.S. workforce.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, dude, everyone's just like relaxing now. They get UBI or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, dude, that's a lot of jobs, right?
It's a lot of jobs.
And so, and that's just in the next 2 years. So, wow. It's going to be huge. I think customer support, you'll call a customer support, you'll have the world's best experience because they'll listen to you, they'll hear you, they'll understand, and they'll fix your problem. And you'll be talking to a robot and not even know it. Think about appointment setters. Like they're going to be calling and it's going to be the perfect AI system. We're still quite a ways away from that because so much stuff is in beta. Like getting from 0 to 1 is really the hardest part for a lot of these. And then they can get from like 1 to 40 or 50 with some ease. But that next leap is really hard. So like Tesla, they've got cars that can drive 60, 70% itself. But that final 30 is going to be really hard.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen with AI. It's like, even though it took 8 years for OpenAI, the people who did ChatGPT, to get here, it started 8 years ago. And then it's taken them like 6 months to really develop and get a user base. It'll take them probably another 5 years to be perfect. That said, what's the craziest thing for me on AI? Do you know who owns ChatGPT?
No.
Microsoft.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So they own ChatGPT. So they don't technically own it, but 8 years ago, there was like 7 billionaires that invested $400 million into them. And they ended up creating the platform. And then Microsoft came and added another $1 billion to have them build it all on their servers. So it's entirely built on their servers. So the interesting thing is if they can figure out a way to incorporate it into Bing's advertising system, Microsoft advertising could overtake Google. Google's working on their own stuff, but it's going to change the advertising space. I mean, we can write sales letters in a matter of a minute. So anyways, dude, I'm super excited about it and also super terrified.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, I see all the ways I can use this, and then I see all the ways where it's like, oh, smokes, I'm going to lose clients because of it.
Dude, have you seen there's a podcast that's made on AI, and they take Joe Rogan. I think it's only Joe Rogan. So they'll take Joe Rogan and they'll interview people. Dude, there's a Joe Rogan and Steve Jobs podcast, which obviously Steve Jobs.
All AI.
That was made by AI. So they
Wow.
take Joe Rogan. They take basically the way they take like all his episodes and they aggregate things he said. and then they take all of Steve Jobs' talks he did publicly and aggregate it in like an audio database, and then they have AI write the podcast back and forth, and then just take the text and like the words and put it together.
Unreal. That's wild. We just started using a software where I said like 1,000 different like sentences, and then it like now mimics my voice, so you can type stuff in and it'll sound exactly like with my tonality and everything.
Is that with Descript or something else?
I can't remember the name of it now. My CEO sent it over to me a couple weeks ago.
It's a secret. He does know the name. He just
I don't. I wish I could share
You
it.
keep all your secrets
No.
behind a paywall.
Yeah, come to my $100,000 mastermind next week and I'll give it to you.
But then, dude, I do know that at those you do lay down everything. So.
Right. All of it. I pull up my skirt.
Thank you on that. Dude, that's crazy. Are you using it? Like, how are you? Or
we're still fine tuning it, but when it's like, doing voicemail drops or doing like, we can do voicemail drop responses. So when someone calls in and they're like, oh, what about this program, that program, whatever, they like get a voicemail from me. It's like, hey,
you have a phone line?
Yeah. We have a full support team.
People call into the phone line?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we have like...
Why is that so weird for like, it's like nowadays?
Well, for the longest time, I just had a phone that would just go to like a voicemail and then it would get encoded and then eventually a support person would find it and email them back. This was years ago and I was still like...
Thanks for calling. Press 1 for sales. Press 2 for support. Sales goes right there.
Yeah.
Support goes to voicemail.
Yeah. And then we were using like... Did you ever use hiremymom.com?
No, what?
It's an amazing website. They are sponsoring this episode, by the way. They're not, but I'm gonna hit them up for it. No, but they hire stay-at-home moms.
Grindr and other stuff.
Yeah. Well, Grindr sponsored it too. So Hire My Moms. It's stay-at-home moms that are like graphic designers, web designers, copywriters, sales, and you can hire like awesome talent. And they're like, I need to make like they're showing up for work, right? They're like a lot of single stay-at-home moms. It's a really cool system. So for a long time, we were using them for setters and support, and then eventually we brought it in all house, all in house. Cool. Yeah.
Wow.
He thought I was going on a joke there, but no, that's real.
My mom was like, no, dude, I already did.
This is a kid's show. There's lots of children listening in. Lots of man babies. A lot of man babies on this planet.
Just two.
Just two babies.
Dude, no, that's actually sick. So, dude, imagine this though. Someone like fills out for like an opt-in form or they fill out for inquiry on the website. And it's literally, hey, this is Chance from Abundance.io. I saw you just submitted the form. Jonathan, I wanted to call you because I see your business, blah, 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 is doing X, Y. Dude, that'd be so sick.
So what we're working on.
Yeah, I love it.
And I will remember the name and I will tell you, but I just can't remember it right now. I literally logged into it for an hour, said all these weird phrases, and then logged out and haven't been back yet. But yeah, so chat GDP. Interesting. That was a smart play by Microsoft to like, oh yeah, here's $1 billion, but you're going to build on our software, and overnight we might just take it from you.
Yeah, exactly. And they just actually announced 3 days ago, that they're putting another $10 billion into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, what is it like when it's already learning that much? I mean, what's another 10 billion going to do? It's just going to speed up time.
Apparently, every iteration has cost $1 billion to create. So they're on.
Like, that's not going to developers. Like,
dude, I don't know, because they're right now it's only has aggregated 10% of the internet up to 2019. So
gotcha.
Imagine.
So you're probably buying more servers and more CPU and more.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. So that it can just run through it more. It's kind of like a Bitcoin like mining operation. It's like more computers, more data, I guess. More
data, more operations.
So insane. Because especially for like, obviously Microsoft is at a whole different level. But like for us with our scalable businesses with like low overhead and being able to scale, it's like, if you gave me 10, I wouldn't even be able to use it.
Speak for yourself, dude. I'll take 10 billion. Like,
yeah, but to invest into your business for growth right now, like it just like,
yeah, like what do you do? Right?
Yeah, like what do you do with that?
Like, dude, even like an 20 or 30 million, I'd be like, all right, like
that would make more sense.
It'd make more sense, but it'd be like, all right, that's a lot of money now, like of 100% like effective, not profit, but like free, clear money to.
For sure. Yeah. Like we bootstrapped it. People come to us all the time. Hey, you guys want investors? It's like, well, we bootstrapped this company from day one in 2015. Like,
you know who Dave Ramsey is, right?
Yeah.
So there was a clip I saw of his where someone calls in and it's like, hey, my net worth is like 3.5 million, blah, blah, blah. The first question he said is, all right, how much of that was an inheritance from your rich family? And he's like zero. And it's just interesting because a lot of people have this like limiting belief. It's like you have to have wealthy family, you have to have, an investor, you have to have, it's like, dude, my first business, I went to the bank and got two $20,000 credit cards and bought some inventory, and then I started that business.
The flying squirrel business?
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. Dude, literally. But then, dude,
you got to give the listeners like a little 5-minute recap, because this is like the most genius business model that I've ever heard of, especially out of the gate. Like you just went hard in the paint on this and became the flying squirrel man from Canada.
Yeah. So I don't really talk about the credit card thing, but
Right.
basically so that's a world premiere here first. but
Right.
yeah, so I just sugar gliders, they're effectively flying squirrels. They're from Australia, and they make, cute pets when you train them properly and all that stuff. And so
Did you bring one for me today?
dude, I actually have one at my booth.
Do you
Want to see it?
Do you really?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, don't play me like that. I want to see a little fucker fly around in here.
Dude, I would go to events literally like this.
Yeah.
And I would set up a booth, and I'd be wearing a safari outfit from head to toe. I'd be wearing, dude, like the Zoolander.
Yeah.
And then I would have them in my pockets. Like I'd have like 5 of them. And so I'd be like, over here, and then he goes over here. I'd pull one out of like this pocket. And dude, we'd just sell them. And so I would travel to a different event literally every single week. I was in a different city for like 4 years when I did it. I made $1 million in my first year and a half doing it, and hated my life because it was like just traveling like crazy. So
Yeah.
that was when I that was the business.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. But then I went into marketing, and I wanted to say, like, on the bootstrapping thing, like, dude, I literally started with $0. I got my first client. They paid me $3K. Boom. All right. Now I can buy a domain. Now I can buy a website. Like, you don't need a single dollar to your name to start a business. That's a limiting belief. Yeah. Just because my dad was a dentist, his dad was a dentist, doesn't mean they gave me $1. In fact, my dad, when I said, hey, I'm dropping out of college to start a business, he ghosted me for 6 months. And I love my parents, but like you, dude, like bootstrapping, self-made, it's real. It can happen. Like anyone from any place with just a little bit of mindset, desire, and like persistence can make shit happen.
It's all, yeah, like that's the thing. Like my dad was a farmer, so he taught us like work ethic, and he's like, Chance, you'll always be successful if you just outwork everybody in the room.
He taught you it, but you didn't learn it.
No. I forgot about it.
You work hard, dude. I see you work hard.
And like, so when it came into, starting the business, where I started with like, a couple $100, I literally gave $500 to a mentor. He was teaching me how to like rank some sites online. And that was all the rest of my money. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to get on the phone. And I just started just freaking cold calling just random people, like looking them up online. Cool. Call this level company. Call this guy. Call this guy. Call this. Finally, like the 10th guy was like, yeah, I'll take a meeting. Why don't you come in Friday? And I was like, hung up the phone. I just started crying. I'm like, someone said yes to this business that I'm just freaking starting. That was like the aha moment of like, I think I'm onto something. I added value in that conversation, show up, sit down with the guy for like 2 hours, and he writes me a check for $2,500. It was like, that's like still to this day, one of the most exciting days of my life, because that was the day that I set myself free, because I started a business that I was already in profit.
Yeah. Dude, do your first clients to this day know that they were like your first clients?
No.
Mine neither.
Oh, absolutely not.
Dude, there was one guy who paid my like all my bills for probably like 6 months, and he had no idea like he was my only client. And dude, my entire day was like waking up like, is this guy gonna fire me?
Yeah.
That was like the scariest thing. And then, stack like another client, and like, all right, now I'm secure.
And you know what I realized a couple of years ago is, my first 10 clients, up until about a year ago, there was like 6 of them that were still with me with like very little communication. And I was like, why is that? And it was like, because I had built such a solid relationship with them, because I was just starting out. So I was like sending them birthday cards and like meeting up with them to go grab a cup of coffee, and built like a really strong, like they became friends. And so like there was just more trust built there. I had always overserved them because they were my first couple of clients, and then they stuck around forever. So it showed me like how important it was, like actually build a relationship. Like that's all this is. That's all business is, it's all sales is, it's all growing is just building those relationships. And eventually you have enough relationships where your business really just starts to freaking take off to where you're like, wow, you're starting to do these like abundant leaps because of the relationships. The clients that I lost a couple months in, it's like I never even talked to them. It's like a sales guy sold them, and then, you know, there was never that like core relationship built.
Dude, can I plug your software here real quick?
Yeah.
So, dude, my first client, one of my first like few clients, I sent him 2,000 leads in the first 3 months, and was like, all right, this guy's got to be crushing it. Like I'm with this guy for life. So I had like a quarterly meeting, went into his office, was like, so like, what do you think? And he's sitting there, he's like, dude, I mean, I'm stoked. Like, when are you getting started? I was like, I sent you 2,000 leads over the last 3 months. Like, where are they? And it turns out they were in his people's spam inbox, because I was just emailing them to them. And so I was like, holy crap. And that's when I was like, dude, I need your software. And so, and it's like, now it's like, okay, now that this software exists, I build it up for my clients, and I have every single one of my clients in there, and they just see the leads come through. And that was like the game changer for me. So it's one of the plug that, because that made me think about my first client, big lesson I learned, and then how you created a solution to the problem.
Yeah. And then that's the thing is like, then was going back to them, how can it be better? It was like, well, if I can keep track of all my leads, they're like, okay, we got to start building that thing out. Well, what would help even better? Well, if I didn't have to follow up with leads, okay, great. Let's create like some automation. And I know that AI is going to continue to evolve, where we'll be able to have like full lead nurturing automation will be mind blowing, because nobody wants to do that. Like be working with like massive companies that are making 30 million a year, 50 million a year, and we're doing lead generation. And like they, for some reason, still really struggle with like keeping good people on the phones to set the stuff, or to set the leads, to close the leads, to follow up with the leads. It's like pulling teeth with something together. I'm like, how did you survive up until this point? Like, it's crazy.
So instead, it's going to be, instead of just like someone who can call people and talk to them or do support, the jobs are going to be relationships.
Yeah.
Like, who do you know? Like, because we're not getting robots that are going to come to this event and kick it like we are anytime soon.
No.
So if you can get good at that communication, relationship building, I think that's probably the focus people need to have now.
Yeah. The biggest thing is like when people get intimidated or like, oh, this is going to replace all these jobs. It's like, well, that's challenging you because you need to up your skills. Like, the world keeps evolving and new skills are showing up onto the marketplace all the time. And if you're worried about your job being replaced by like a low level robot, or in some cases, like when people are freaking out about all the illegal immigrants in the US, it's like, if you're really worried about somebody that cannot speak your language, that does not have your education, that does not have the resource that you have, is going to take your job, like that's an issue with you. That's an insecurity with you. You haven't developed yourself far enough to be taking advantage of like literally what is right in front of you. And so, when people go all about, hey, it's going to replace this, replace that. It's like, it's not going to replace relationships. It's not going to replace leaders. It's not going to replace coaches. It's not going to replace, people that know how to communicate, build relationships, build companies.
It's also going to happen slow, because
very slow.
Because even just think about how long it's taken companies to really use social media. Like, dude, Walmart, Target didn't start using like TikTok and Instagram until like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it's like the adoption, the time for large companies to adopt it, it's going to take a decade. So there's going to be opportunities in like implementation companies. So you can start a whole company just being a company that helps companies implement AI.
That's literally what we're talking about tomorrow with like, starting a company in the growth phase. And like, we go through so many of these cycles with new technology, new services, where it's like, it's created, it's starting to go. And then in that growth phase, you actually hop on the board there and you ride it to the top, and then eventually gets to the saturated. And that's, you exit right before that saturation. So it's like, if you're catching those industries on growth, you ride it for a couple of years, saturation, sell. And people are always getting onto that wave curve at like different points and then get burned, and they're wondering why. It's like, it already had its cycle. Like the people that have market share, the largest market share, are just going to own that, and you're not going to be able to compete. It's done. It's like, what's the next thing? So always paying attention to what's happening in tech. So I love coming to these conferences and speaking with people and learning about like chat GDP, like what's next? What are the next things people are working towards? Automation. That's a big thing we talk about a lot on Abundance. Like, every single business needs automation. That's the next plug. That's the next service. We're building an entire industry out of it, right? It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Dude, I was just thinking about your boy over here. I'm like, dude, I can just see him like falling asleep over here. I'm like, all right, we gotta either end it or I gotta crack some jokes.
Or gotta turn it up. Turn it up.
Yeah. Nah, he's like, me? What? No, I'm just picking on you. I'm just not like in a bad way. I'm just like, dude, it's a good representation of the audience.
For sure. Well, here's me talk shit all day. So he's like,
dude, I'm also like, so like, what's the most exciting thing that the listeners can't see right now happening that we want to tease them with?
there's a lady dancing
right there.
terrible dance moves, and all of her friends are actually laughing with her, not at her, which is nice.
No, at her, not with her.
I don't know.
Oh, you're saying it's a good thing.
Yeah. I'm always a positive person. I was telling somebody about abundance earlier, and he's like, he owns a pest control company, and he's kind of like, I tell him the whole thing. He's like, wow, that's a lot of positivity. I was like, how do you mean? He's like, well, every component of your business is like so much happiness. I'm like, yeah, it like, is there not in your business? He's like, well, I mean, it was just pest control. We just go and we kill bugs. And I was like, that does make people happy. I mean, I just had a guy come out to my cabin when I had giant black ants everywhere, and I was happy after that.
Yeah, I think it'd be even happier if the guy came in with like, I'm manifesting these bugs away, bro. Like, but dude, what is the mission of abundance? Like, what is your core mission?
Our core mission is to teach 1 million people to be financially free and living abundant lives in the next 3 years. That doesn't mean people that have just gone through our programs. That means literally people changing their lives through transformation. And then what we're teaching really is like the 3 levels of wealth, the 4 levels of impact. So teaching people how to create one passive income stream, whether it be on Airbnb, Kindle, our SaaS agency model, our new program we're bringing into, which is 0% down real estate deals. Figuring out those systems, systematizing that, and then creating another one, right? So we're teaching how to hire, build teams, build softwares around that so that you can have 2 streams of income, and then be investing that into generational wealth type platforms, building the syndicate, teaching people how to roll that into real estate. And then on the 4th level is that's like, once you have your immediate needs taken care of, then it's like, okay, now how do you have impact in the world? Like, what is your mission? What pain did you go through as a child that like you want to go head on that journey, right? My friend Tim Tebow, it's all about sex trafficking. Like that is his big mission to like knock that out. I started the nonprofit Uganda in 2017 because I lost my father and I saw these kids that didn't have parents, and it just like hit me. And so that was my whole thing. It's like, take kids off the street, put them in homes. So and Abdul is building schools in Pakistan. And so since we started really sharing those stories, at this point, we've had like, I don't know, a handful of students, probably 10 students that have like blown up their businesses and then immediately went in and started nonprofits just based off of our story. So now we're really starting to bake that into abundance. And yeah, that's really like the whole mission of abundance. It's just like really helping people break through, have their abundant leap mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, whatever's broken, whatever's hurt. Like we're there to support you. We have 2-hour days where we have our therapists that you can speak with, therapists weekly that are performance coaches that help you get through, any of your mental blocks you have, any traumas that you're going through that are holding you back from getting to that next level. Because through COVID, a lot of therapists lost their jobs because it was all like a lot of in-person. A lot of them didn't know how to move to like a digital platform. So now I think we have 30 therapists and personal development coaches on staff that are speaking with anybody that comes through abundance.
Love that, man. That's awesome.
So it's been a beast, but it's been a wild ride. And, people always ask me, well, did you always see this? Do you always see building this? And I said, not exactly. But when I was a kid, we used to go to Mexico and build houses and help out orphanages. And I was just like, man, I just want to help. Like, it's just in my innate nature to help people. And when I can see like
a kid, you did that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When we're in junior high and high school. Wow. Yeah. We could go on the summer trip and we could go to different parts of the world and like do these things. And I just felt, called to do it. And from there throughout my life was a massage therapist, was helping people with a lot of like, physical and emotional therapy type stuff. And then I was like, but this is still like 1-to-1. Like, what's the next, what's the next thing from that. Like, how can you help one to many? And that's really like when abundance was born, because people think like if you can just fix your immediate financial thing where it's like an extra $1,000 in a month, an extra $2,000 a month, and you can relieve that stress for somebody, then they have the energy and the finances to actually start making the little changes that they need to. Maybe they can start eating slightly better food to help their body perform better. Now they have more energy to be around their kids. Now the family component is fixed in a little bit of a way, right? Where parents aren't coming home, they're so exhausted, they don't want to spend time with their partner or their kids, and then eventually you drift away. You always hear that drifting away from, and why families break up, because it doesn't just happen like that. It's like slowly over time. 6 years later, like, oh, I don't even love my wife anymore. I don't even know her. Why is that? I didn't have the energy to put back into that relationship. The relationship with my wife was not abundant with my kids. So that's like really the whole thing behind abundance, is like, if we can help you in any one of those places, and if we can't, we're going to send you to somebody, that can. So that's really the big mission. We have the 50,000 people that have come through that we've helped transform their lives in our higher programs. We have 130,000 people that have gone through like some of our beginner mindset training type stuff. But yeah, the goal is in the next 3 years to teach 1 million people to be financially free, where they can actually go out and have real impact in the world.
Yeah. Amazing, man. Love it.
Thanks, bro.
No, dude, I like the elevation, because like you have your companies, but I like that you now. I don't know if it's new, right? Abundance is a newer thing, or
it's been a thought for a lot of years, and it's really just come together in the last year.
Okay.
Yeah, but now we're really getting out there. Like the podcast is coming out. We're doing more of these, doing more partnerships, more JVs. So now it's like, this is my main mission, is just abundance. It's not just one individual business. It's the umbrella company of abundance.
Sweet. It's been fun, dude.
Yeah, man.
Good.
I was hanging out. So let's wrap it up. I know I want to try to get the other buddy on here too before it gets too late, because I know his wife's going to come in, and then we'll lose him for the night.
It's okay. I'm going to the concert. So
yeah, we're going to the concert. So thank you guys for tuning in. Another Abundance podcast with my good friend Dylan from Mindful Agency. If you need PR services, go check them out. He'll make you rich, famous. He'll help you find your dream partner. What else do you guys supply? Limousine transportation anywhere you land?
Yeah, I mean, we do provide a 7-star experience. So yeah, you're buying PR, but it's also the experience too. We provide amazing experiences when working with us. And outside of that, make sure you check out hiremymom.com. Thank you for sponsoring today's podcast. And yeah, it's been fun.
That's a wrap. Door to Door Con live at the Abundance Podcast. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.